Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and today we're going to be talking about Fantasy Football 2018 Week 1 Preseason Standouts. So for those of you that have come back to this channel, for those of you who are watching one of my videos for the first time, welcome. How are you guys doing today? I hope everybody's doing well. It's summer, it's hot out, but we'll get through it. Just get some ice, get some water, maybe some Arnold Palmer, and you'll feel better. Obviously, you're here to hear all things fantasy football. We're talking about news, we're talking about, matchups, we're talking about advice, all of the above, right? But specifically today, we're going to be talking about the Fantasy Football 2018 Week 1 Preseason Standouts, right? So I'm going to be talking about all things fantasy football that occurred in that first week of fantasy, right? I kind of waited on a couple breaking news kind of sections just to compile it all in this one video, just to keep everything together, right? So we're going to be talking about, running back competitions, whether it be RBBCs. We're going to be talking about rookies. We're going to be talking about veterans. We're going to be talking about everything, right? Andrew Luck shoulder, everything. So other than that, let's get right into it. But before we do, first of all, I last week I asked you, the loyal subscriber, and/or those of you who haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I've asked many of you to continue to subscribe and support my channel, and you guys did just that. We finally hit the 50 subscriber mark. If I'm not mistaken, we're at 57 subscribers today. I'm fired up, and we're moving, guys. We're getting up there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. I extremely appreciate it. I'm just gonna keep pumping out content. I hope everybody enjoys, and let's get into it, everybody. The signature wave right into the video. Here we go. So obviously, right, as you can see on the screen, it's Darius Geis, right, running back for the Washington Redskins. As I said before, I wanted to hold off on a couple breaking news videos that I thought about making last week, just to compile it into the Week 1 preseason kind of standouts, right? Darius Geis, if you haven't heard already, tore his ACL in the first preseason game of the season versus the Patriots, right? It was the Patriots versus the Washington Redskins. And this has a lot of fantasy impact, right? And why exactly? He's a rookie, but he was slated to be that workhorse back for this offense, right? They drafted Darius Geis to come in and pretty much handle majority of the carries with a little bit of help from Chris Thompson and Samaje Perine and Rob Kelly, but still, all things were, in line, in place for Darius Geis to be a workhorse back. People were drafting him second, third round. He was going off the board extremely early. And for those of you who have already drafted, such as I, it's unfortunate to hear that Darius Geis will no longer play for the remainder of the 2018 season. It's rough, but it happens, right? Every preseason. So we're just going to have to adjust and, make our teams better if you had Darius Geis on your team. So, real quick, before we go into, the standouts of the specific game, I want to just talk about what's going to happen to Darius Geis' fantasy opportunity, right? I'm a Chris Thompson owner in one of my leagues, so I'm a little excited, right? Other than Darius Geis, there is Chris Thompson, as I said, Samaje Perine, Rob Kelly, right? Last season, it was kind of a mix, right? There was a lot of injuries to this backfield. Rob Kelly only played 7 games last season. Chris Thompson only played 10 games last season until he had an Achilles injury that took him out for the rest of the year. Samaje Perine last season was a rookie that a lot of people thought, he could be a rookie that comes out and wins this job. He didn't really do much. He only had about, let's get this right. He performed decently, okay? He was a rookie. He was a decent rookie, right? Comparatively to like the Kareem Hunts and the Alvin Kamara's and the Christian McCaffreys, he wasn't of the class, of that kind of RB1 rookie running back. Those guys are just complete monsters, right? Samaje Perine came out, had 785 total yards, whether it be running and receiving combined, and 2 touchdowns, right? Obviously, he wasn't great, but he was decent, okay? Chris Thompson was pretty good when he played, but, he got injured, and for the rest of that season, for the remaining 6 games of the regular season, he was gone. So where do I see this coming season? I see Chris Thompson 100% being the main benefactor of this. A lot of people are whispering Samaje Perine might just get the carries. It might be Rob Kelly coming out and picking up these carries. Rob Kelly was the starting running back in 2016, in which he had similar numbers to Samaje Perine last season. Rob Kelly had almost 800 total yards and 7 touchdowns in 2016, right? So this backfield, there's a lot of opportunity. There is enough opportunity for a running back to become a RB2, assuming that everything goes correctly and their opportunity is given to them like it should be. So the way I see it, I think Chris Thompson is going to be the main benefactor. A lot of people are saying, Chris Thompson's not healthy yet. I saw film yesterday of the Redskins and Jets joint practice where everyone was fighting. Chris Thompson was running the ball. He's healthy. He's practicing, guys. There's nothing to worry about there, right? A lot of people are waiting on him in drafts. You don't have to wait. He is going to be the main benefactor of this. Secondary, I think it's going to be Samaje Perine. And then Fat Rob Kelly is going to be, probably that bench stash that if you really think he's going to win this job, I guess you're just going to have to wait and see. The rest of this preseason will determine who's going to win that running back job, okay? But other than that, I don't want to, harp on anymore. It's extremely unfortunate that Darius Geis is going to be out for the remainder of the season, but it is what it is. It happens every year, just like last year with Odell and, Aaron Rodgers, David Johnson, Dalvin Cook. This just happened a little bit earlier, right? So it doesn't kill your season just yet, especially if you haven't drafted yet, okay? So let's move on. Let's continue to talk about the Patriots versus the Redskins. Who were the standouts for me during this game, right? Right off the bat, Jeremy Hill, okay? Running back for the New England Patriots, came out and he looked good. Like, don't get me wrong. Jeremy Hill is a starting running back in the NFL, okay? He was with the Bengals, his entire career. And in 2016, he was pretty much a monster. He had 1,000 rushing yards, 1,000 total yards, and 9 touchdowns, right? In 2016. Last season, he got injured. It kind of helped Joe Mixon step up a little bit. Giovanni Bernard continued to contribute as he did in the third down aspects. And it was done. Jeremy Hill, poof, because they drafted Joe Mixon for a reason, to come in and take the starting job from him. Jeremy Hill was gone. He's been picked up by the New England Patriots, obviously. He played well, right? I'm not saying that he's going to, take snaps away and be the starting running back for this offense, right? There is still Sonny Michel. There's still James White. There is still Rex Burkhead, right, to worry about. But I'm just saying, keep an eye on him throughout this regular season. You never know. The Patriots like using they used LeGarrette Blount 2 years back, who had 19 rushing touchdowns, 1,000 yards. They used Dion Lewis for the majority of the season. Last season, who had 900 yards, 8 touchdowns. There is opportunity in this backfield for someone to step up, and there's a potential for Jeremy Hill. Okay, so just look out for him for the next coming weeks. I'm going to be updating you on that. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens from that. Other than that, the Bradys didn't play. The Gronkowski, Alex Smith didn't play. The starting wide receivers like Josh Doxson, Jamison Crowder, Paul Richardson, Jordan Reed, they didn't play in this game. So other than that, other than Jeremy Hill and then the unfortunate injury to Darius Geis, that's it, right? So we're going to move on. We're going to talk about the next game, okay? We're going to be talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Dolphins, right? The Battle of Florida. Who is going to reign supreme, right? Anyway, I like to kind of phrase it this way, right? There is a lot of implications with the Buccaneers in the next couple weeks, right? There is a lot of shift within this offense, right? The first couple games, Fitzpatrick will be the starting quarterback. Winston will be at home on Sundays watching from his couch. The running back situation's a little confusing. Who's going to be the starting running back? But I'm here to answer that question, right? Fitzpatrick ran with the first team, right, which was good, right? He needs those reps. Other than that, Winston looked good also. Fitzpatrick looked pretty decent. Winston looked good with the second team during the second quarter. Now, the information that you really want to know, who's going to be the starting running back of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? Is it going to be Peyton Barber or is it going to be Ronald Jones, right? I'm pretty high on Ronald Jones. It just came out, right, that Dirk Cutter, the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, has stated immediately today, like literally this is news, right, that Peyton Barber will be the starting running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He has stated it, and it is done. Okay? And don't get me wrong, Peyton Barber played well, right? He played well last season. He played well during this first preseason game. Now, on the other hand, Ronald Jones didn't play well, right? If I'm not mistaken, he had like 8 rushes for 9 yards and a touchdown, right? I went back, I watched the film. I had to just, I've put my neck out there saying Ronald Jones is going to be a stud, right? I just wanted to see what the issue was. Was he just too slow out of the backfield? What was the problem? Did he drop a couple passes? Yes. He dropped a pass. That is not good already, okay? But what he did was every time the ball was snapped, there were at least 2 defensive linemen in the backfield, right? So now what does that mean? I don't know how much you can blame Ronald Jones for the ineptitude of his offensive line. Yes, he needs to make plays, but if there is someone already in the backfield before the ball's handed off to you, there's a problem, right? So I don't know how much I put it on Ronald Jones, but anyway, Peyton Barber looked good. He's been named the starting running back, so draft accordingly. I still like Ronald Jones. It almost helps that Ronald Jones is going to get, his ADP is going to drop a little bit in the next couple of weeks. So, I'm going to go ahead and stash him on my bench. I'll tell you that much. Other than that, what looked good? Cameron Brate looked good with Jameis Winston. Cameron Brate, another guy that people don't know about, right? Is O.J. Howard going to be starting tight end? Is Cameron Brate going to be starting tight end? Are they both going to share? Who do I start? Cameron Brate looked good. O.J. Howard didn't play. I don't know how much you can put into that, but that's all I have for the Buccaneers. Now, we're back. Okay. Other than that, I'm going to say that the Dolphins, right? What did I pick up from the Dolphins? Was it Kalen Ballage? Yeah, Kalen Ballage. Okay, running back. I thought about adding this guy to my top 10 rookie running backs a couple weeks back when I did that video. I thought with Kenyon Drake, with Frank Gore, there's no way this guy is going to get some reps. It'll be very, rare to see him come out. He had a great game. Kalen Ballage came out. He looked really good. He passed the eye test, to say the least. He looked quick, and I don't know what else to say. He looked good, right? So if you're a Kenyon Drake owner, there might be something to look out for, because there's something called Kalen Ballage coming to steal some reps here and there. I'm telling you, just look out for him. Other than that, the Battle of Florida was a decent game, and we're gonna keep going. We're gonna move on. We're gonna be talking about Cam versus Calvin, right? Last week, if I'm not mistaken, Calvin Benjamin in an interview said, if I had any other quarterback while I was in the Panthers, I would have never been traded. Cam's not an accurate quarterback, etc., talking smack, and they played earlier the past week, and Cam approached Calvin Benjamin in the pregame warm-ups, and Calvin Benjamin wanted nothing of it, He didn't want to talk to him. He didn't want to, address the situation, and he just ran off. But it didn't hurt Calvin Benjamin too much. You want to know why? He came out and he had a pretty decent game. He scored a touchdown with Nathan Peterman. He looked good. Calvin Benjamin, I've been talking a lot of crap about Calvin Benjamin as of late, but he looked good, right? There was an ability for him to score against the number 1 defense, right? So, and that's not saying much, because the Panthers secondary is so it's okay. Other than that, who did I pick up, right? Christian McCaffrey is going to be the number 1 running back of this offense, right? He came out with the number 1s. He performed with the number 1s. He got the goal line carry with the number 1s, right? C.J. Anderson, on the other hand, was playing in the fourth quarter. Since when does a starting NFL running back end up playing in the fourth quarter? In the first preseason game, how is that possible, right? I was confused. I was baffled a little bit. I thought, Frank Gore would be contributing on this first-team offense. Instead, he was like with the fourth-team offense, and maybe he was just trying to get some reps. But maybe there's just there's a slight difference that they're just going to keep McCaffrey for all of the carries, and he's going to be that RB1 that everyone expects him to be. So just information out there. Other than that, another huge standout, DJ Moore, as good as advertised. DJ Moore was a monster. He looked great, right? And as the preseason progresses, getting into that regular season, I expect Devin Funch's value in ADP to go down and DJ Moore's to rise, because he's going to be the number 1 receiver of this offense. I'm not saying he probably touched the ball less than Greg Olsen or Christian McCaffrey, but there's a good opportunity for him to be the number one wide receiver of this offense. Okay. Other than that, the Bills respectively, right? Each of the quarterbacks played good, right? Josh Allen, the rookie, Nathan Peterman, the guy that threw 4 picks against the Chargers last season and was forever benched, and A.J. McCarron, right, who was brought over from the Bengals. They all look good in their own respect, right? This quarterback situation, if you play in a super flex, it's confusing. I don't know who's going to start. I think it might be Nathan Peterman, right? He started as the first-team quarterback. He proved that he can go down the field and score, in which he did. And at this point, I think the job is up in the air. It's a coin toss. It's a 3-headed coin, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Honestly, it's a little confusing, but we'll see. Other than that, that's pretty much all we've got from that game. I think I got to sneeze, but it's like that feeling that you get in your nostrils, but it like burns. But you want to sneeze so bad, but you just can't. Oh my god, my brain's about to explode. I want to sneeze. Okay, anyway. Let's go with the next, right? So we're going to go talk about the Bears versus the Bengals, right? The two teams that have just one letter as their logo, okay? So what did we see? What stood out, right? Right out the gate, Adam Shaheen, tight end for the Bears, okay? He played well. Trey Burton did not play. Zach Miller obviously had I feel like it's a career-ending injury last season. So they needed a tight end to step up. Adam Shaheen did that later on in the last season, the last couple weeks. Shaheen came in, played well against the Bengals. And I think he should be he's a guy that you should worry about, right? I think that Trey Burton owners should be afraid. Adam Shaheen is a good athlete. He's proven that he can perform on a weekly basis in fantasy. Last season, he did so. 4 receptions, 36 yards, and a touchdown. Boom, that's great. Okay, so I'd be careful. And even Matt Nagy earlier today, if I'm not mistaken, was talking about Adam Shaheen is going to be a good part of this offense. He's going to contribute. So, just saying, Trey Burton owners, be careful. Other than that, Andy Dalton played well, came out with the first-team offense, scored 2 touchdowns, right? He threw an interception, but that's Andy Dalton. Nobody cares, right? Joe Mixon, he's going to be that starting running back, right? There's no more Jeremy Hill. There's no one to take the job from him. It's going to happen. It's unfortunate because I don't like Mixon very much. I probably will never own a share of him this season unless it's like the 4th round and no one's picked him yet. Other than that, he's going to be the bell cow of this offense, and he'll probably be decent. Other than those guys, Shaheen, Dalton, Mixon, any other takeaways? John Ross played, but he didn't really contribute much. I guess we'll just have to wait throughout the rest of the preseason to see. Maybe we'd get a little bit of more contribution from Trubisky to see if he's, playing. Hopefully Allen Robinson comes back from injury and begins to contribute, see how he's working. But other than that, that's all we got from that game. Let's see. Oh, yes. The Eagles versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? The Battle of Pennsylvania. I always like to give a title to every game, right? There's got to be some sort of narrative that everyone's, the last one was the Battle of the one-letter teams, right? A couple before, what was it? It was like Cam versus Calvin. A little bit before that was the Battle for Florida, right? I like to, create a narrative for each thing. So this is the Battle of Pennsylvania, okay? The Steelers versus the Eagles. What popped out to me, okay? So right out the gate, J.J. looked good, right? J.J. was running the ball. He looked good. But there was a thing to know. Him and Corey Clement were splitting carries. And that's how I think it's going to end up being this coming season, right? J.J. will run the first and second down, which is not bad. It's not a bad contribution. The trash can, the garbage collectors are destroying my video. Hello? Anyway, and Corey Clement's going to come in on 3rd down. He's going to contribute. But I think J.J. as a 2-down back is decent, right? He can still contribute in the passing game, but they're not going to need him to, right? With Darren Sproles, Corey Clement, and Wendell Smallwood, I don't think he's going to have to. He's going to be a 2-down back this coming season. I would value him around the area of an Alex Collins. I would also value him around the area of where Darius Geis is kind of, I think Darius Geis, yes, he was going to be a 2-down back, but people were thinking maybe he could be more. I think Ajay has decent value, but he's going to be a 2-down back this year. Other than that, what stood out to me? Yeah, Juju Smith had a 77-yard touchdown. It was on a broken play, right? It was an offside. The quarterback threw it up. Some inexperienced cornerback made a mistake. He scored. Okay, whoop-de-doo. Nobody really cares, right? But a thing that we should be worrying about, right? It's Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon Jeffrey did not play in this game. And news from this morning was that Alshon Jeffrey he might be on the PUP list. And PUP is physically unable to perform list, which makes it so where he can't play until the 6th week of the NFL season. I don't know what injury he's ailing from. I haven't really gotten any information on that. But there is a potential that Alshon Jeffrey ends up on the PUP list, and that's really not good. For him, obviously, fantasy owners of Alshon Jeffrey, it's not going to help. But if you own Nelson Aguilar, boom, that's a huge come up. He is going to be a wide receiver 2 on a weekly basis if Alshon Jeffrey's not there. Potentially, he can be a wide receiver 1 because who else is he going to throw to? Ertz, sure. Other than that, couple backfield, tosses to Clement and Sproles, and then they have Mike Wallace. So I think Nelson Aguilar could be really good if Alshon Jeffrey is not able to play. Other than that, there was no Ben, there was no Antonio, there was no Le'Veon, there was no Wentz, there was no Ertz. This there wasn't really much else to watch, right? There was a couple running back plays here and there. James Conner got some reps for the Steelers. No big deal. So other than that, that's pretty much all that stuck out, the Alshon Jeffrey and the J.J. Clement kind of backfield situation. Okay, so let's move on, right? Let's go to the Browns versus the New York Giants. You ready for this title? This is the number 1 overall pick versus the number 2 overall pick. Boom. There we go. Okay, I'm creating a narrative for every single preseason game, right? Because it's preseason. You got to have fun with it. If you can't watch these games and, if you don't have a fantasy team playing, it's not going to be that fun, right? But if you create a narrative around it, it'll create something, right? You'll enjoy it a little bit more. So, right out the gate, Tyrod Taylor, as you can see on the screen, smooth, 5 for 5, touchdown pass to David Njoku, was finding Jarvis Landry consistently. Another thing to look for, because I don't know if you guys are watching Hard Knocks. You should. It's pretty good. The first episode is on YouTube. Go watch it on the HBO YouTube page. Just do it, and it's a pretty good episode. Anyway, so Jarvis Landry looked clean. Other than that, Tyrod Taylor, he's surrounded with good talent. Now, Josh Gordon hasn't reported the training camp yet. He's battling with whatever issues. It is what it is. Josh Gordon he's got issues, and I don't know if he's going to be able to play this season, but I hope he does. So if he doesn't, right, and it stands that he doesn't play this season or he comes back later on in the season, Rashad Higgins is the number 2 wide receiver of this offense, right? Antonio Callaway did contribute a little bit here and there, but it's Rashad Higgins is the number 2 wide receiver of the Cleveland Browns offense, okay? Just to, let it be known. Other than that, Baker Mayfield looked good. 11 for 20 passing, 2 touchdown passes. He looked good, right? There's nothing to say. But I still think that Tyrod Taylor is going to start for this offense, right? Tyler Taylor is an extremely efficient quarterback who the Browns really need right now, okay? Let me just read this stat for you, okay? Last season, the Cleveland Browns threw 28 interceptions in the entire year, okay? 22 from Deshaun Kaiser and 6 from a bunch of other bums, okay? I think it was like Chris Hogan and a couple, I don't know who else started in that offense. I don't know how many quarterback carousel they had, but it was ridiculous, right? They had 28 interceptions last season, okay? In Tyrod Taylor's entire career, okay? He hasn't even thrown 20 interceptions. What's up with that? Okay? Last season alone, the Browns threw 28 interceptions. 28. Tyrod Taylor hasn't even thrown 20 in his entire career. That's the quarterback they need right now. They need this culture to change, right? They need to pick up wins. They need to stop going 0-16. They need to pick up wins. They can't be the first pick every season. The tides have got to shift, right? Tyrod Taylor is the man to do that. If you play in a 2 QB league, he's looking like he can be a contributing piece of your team. Other than that, Saquon Barkley came out for his carry, 33 yards. Whoop-de-doo. It doesn't affect me. I'm okay with that. He's still going to be a first-round pick. He's still going to be the 5th or 6th running back off the board, right? No matter what he does, whether he plays for the rest of the preseason or not. He's Saquon Barkley. Just the name value itself is going to get him drafted high, okay? As I said before, David Njoku looked good. Rashad Higgins is going to be that number 2. Other than that, offensively for the New York Giants, their offensive line looked a little bit better. Otherwise, if you have Eric Flowers still playing on your offensive line, he's the right tackle as we speak. He was the left tackle last year. You're in a little bit of trouble. I don't know if Eric Flowers is a good enough offensive tackle in this NFL. Right? I think if you shoot him down the guard, he might have a little bit easier time. But then again, we'll see. But their offensive line looked better. Like Will Hernandez, who is the left guard that they drafted, and Nate Solder, who is the left tackle that they brought in from the Patriots. They look good, right? They're a good duo. I think they'll be decent this coming season. Other than that, that's all the standouts for that specific game. Okay, so the next game we're going to be talking about, right? The Jaguars versus the Saints. You ready for this one? You ready? Jaguars versus Saints. The prelude to 2018 Super Bowl. It's possible. I'm telling you. Jaguars versus Saints. There's a possibility, people. There's a possibility. Okay. So, what stood out to me, right? Mark Ingram. Okay. He played in this game, right? Yes, he's going to be suspended for the first 4 games of the season. But what stood out to me, Mark Ingram got some goal line work. And I think that if you have an opportunity to draft Mark Ingram later on in your draft, right? If I'm not mistaken, his ADP is around like 60 right now. Take him. If you can get good running backs early, or if you want to say, forget about it, I can forfeit the first 4 weeks, or, just go, 500 in the first 4 weeks, go for it. Honestly, Mark Ingram is going to be a good option for the running back position this coming season. He's going to be coming off of a 4-week break, a full month, right, where he's going to have fresh legs. He's going to come in, he's going to dominate. I think that's what's going to happen. Mark Ingram looked good. Okay. Now the Jaguars. What about the Jaguars? Like Alvin Kamara played, but he whatever. 1 snap, get out. 1 catch, get out. Let's talk about the Jaguars. Okay. We know Leonard Fournette is going to be that running back that's going to be the bell cow of this team, the workhorse. There's Blake Bortles. There's Austin Seferian-Jenkins that'll eventually contribute. Niles Paul, but the wide receiver position is the most interesting part, right? Other than the Jaguars defense, who is last year's number 1 defense in fantasy, which they'll probably be this year, right? The wide receiver position. They have, as you can see, Dede Westbrook on your screen. They have Keelan Cole. They have Dante Moncrief. They have, who am I missing? I only named 3 guys. Marquise Lee. There's 4. And I'm sure they drafted another. I swear they drafted another receiver this past season. It's just a wide receiver by committee kind of thing, right? But I think Dede Westbrook looked good in the first team offense, right? He was getting a lot of the targets from Blake Bortles. I'm just saying, keep an eye out for him in the next couple weeks with Blake Bortles. There is a potential for him to be the number 1 wide receiver of this offense. Just saying, he plays on the outside. He could be picking up the Allen Robinson, opportunity that was there these last couple seasons. Anyway, so let's move on. We're going to be talking about the Rams versus the Ravens. Okay, this is the. I know you want Lamar Jackson to start for the Ravens, but he's not going to. Game. Okay. Joe Flacco came out. He looked good. Robert Griffin III came out. He looked good, and Lamar Jackson came out. He looked good. Right. A couple throws here and there were but. He was able to make plays with his legs, and that pretty much compensates for it. Rams-wise, right? What did the Rams do? The Rams did not start a single offensive starting position, right? They had their quarterback, no. Todd Gurley, no. All 3 of their wide receivers, whether it be Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp, and Robert Woods, nope. Tight end, nope. So what are we supposed to watch for, right? They got blown out anyway, too. It was like 30-3 or something. I don't know, something like that, right? So it was more of a Ravens kind of thing, right? What popped out to me? Alex Collins is that RB1. Yes, he's going to be a 2-down back, right? Because as I was watching, I continue to see that as soon as the third down came in or the Ravens wanted to throw the ball, here comes Jaguars Allen, right? So Jaguars Allen, who was a pretty good RB2 last season, right? Kind of a sneaky one. He's going to be that third down back for this team. Alex Collins will take care of the first and second down carries, just like the J.J. situation that I talked about earlier. So Alex Collins, he's going to contribute, but he's going to be a first and second down back. That doesn't mean he's not going to be, extremely efficient this year. He's going to be a great fantasy option, but he's an RB2, right? Plain and simple, he's an RB2, especially when they're taking him out on third down in like a PPR, half one PPR league. That's not to say he's not going to catch the ball. He will. But it's not going to be as much as Jaguars Allen will contribute in that area. Other than that, anything that stood out to me, Joe Flacco looked good. I'm telling you guys, there's a potential for Joe Flacco to be a decent quarterback this year. All you got to do is draft a rookie and light a fire under their ass, honestly. All right. Next, okay, we're going to be talking about, just look at this picture, right? On the left, Derrick Henry. On the right, Dion Lewis, okay? Just saying, okay? What was the title for this one? What was the narrative? I literally put in quotation marks, yawn. This was a boring game, let's be honest, okay? When there's no Rodgers, do I really care? I don't. I checked out, okay? But what popped out to me? Again, this is another situation. As soon as the third down situation appeared, here comes Dion Lewis, out goes Derrick Henry. So that's the third running back situation where we've seen evidence that as soon as the third down shows up, boom, the second running back's in. Dion Lewis came in, he contributed, he was good on the pass protection, and I think Dion Lewis is going to have some decent fantasy value. I don't know. He'll probably be a low-end RB2, and if he ends up taking carries away from Derrick Henry, he could be a high-end RB2. You never know. We'll just have to wait and see. Other than that, what else popped out to me? Jamal Williams. Yes, the running backs for the Green Bay Packers. Jamal Williams was the starting running back. Ty Montgomery came in a couple times, didn't really contribute much. Jamal Williams stood out. He looked like he's going to be the starting running back for this team. He contributed, whether it's running the ball, catching the ball out of the backfield. And I think come week 1, Jamal Williams will be the starter of this team. And maybe even after Aaron Jones comes back, he can continue to keep that job, barring that he plays well in the first 2 weeks of the season. So that's pretty much all I saw. Let's move on. Let's get a move on, shall we? The Texans versus the Kansas City Chiefs, right? I said which not number 2, excuse me. The narrative, right? It says which second-year quarterback will be better, right? Is it going to be Patrick Mahomes this season, or is it going to be Deshaun Watson? Okay, Deshaun Watson came in through one ball. See you next week. It is what it is. But Patrick Mahomes, he had a little bit more, right? He had a little bit more time to kind of get his feet wet. Yes, he started a game last year in Week 16 in which he beat the Denver Broncos, but again, he really did look like a rookie, right? There were a lot of rookie mistakes he was making. His movement in the pocket at times looked really bad, right? His footwork was bad. He was stepping into pressure. A lot of questionable decisions that only a rookie can make, right? He's still a rookie quarterback. At the end of the day, I honestly believe that there's nothing in football that you can. There's nothing more valuable in football but experience. Experience is the most valuable thing that you can have in football, right? So, Patrick Mahomes is going to suffer because of his lack of experience from last season. So, other than that, what else stood out to me? Lamar Miller is going to be he's okay. So, a lot of people, yes, he's going to be an RB2, right? But I think he's going to improve this season, right? With Deshaun Watson under center, right? There will be more opportunity for Lamar Miller to play better, right? They're not going to stack the box as much because you don't have Brock Osweiler or Tom Savage back there, right? TJ Yates. Instead, they're going to give a little bit more room because Deshaun Watson and Kyle Fuller must be respected. And there's going to be an opportunity for Lamar Miller to be better this coming season due to the impact of Deshaun Watson and this offense. Other than that, that's pretty much all I saw. Lamar Miller, Patrick Mahomes, this and that. No big deal. Okay, next. So the San Francisco 49ers versus the Dallas Cowboys. Always a good matchup. I called this the 1990s NFC Championship game. The 1990s NFC Championship game. Because in the 1990s, every damn year, it was the 49ers versus the Cowboys. So anyway, what did we see, right? McKinnon, Jerick McKinnon, a little bit of news. He had an MRI yesterday because they had a little bit of a worry about his knee. It came back negative, which everyone was hoping. And it was just a muscle strain in his calf. No big deal. He's not, healthy as of right now. They brought in Alfred Morris today. And Kyle Shanahan was talking about it, and he was saying there is a potential that Alfred Morris makes his roster, right? Which throws a huge wrench in all of the owners of Breida and McKinnon, right? So that's a little bit something to worry about. Just saying. Keep your eye on that as the weeks progress. Other than that, right, let's talk about the Cowboys. Jimmy Garoppolo looked good. We'll see how it ends up with Pierre Garçon out there. George Kittle got a little bit banged up. No big deal. He'll be fine. He'll come back. How did the Cowboys look? Dak looked good. Zeke did not play. The wide receivers. I almost feel like the Jaguars and the Cowboys really have the same kind of wide receiver issue, right? They don't have a commanding number one wide receiver, but eventually they will, right? In time they will. Eventually somebody, hopefully Michael Gallup, will step up. A couple weeks back, I think it was last week, Dak was asked, who's your favorite target out in the field? He said it's Cole Beasley, right? And there goes Cole Beasley's ADP. It's going up, everybody. We'll see what happens. Other than that, Blake Jarwin, he's going to be the starting tight end of this team, right? There's no more Jason Witten. Blake Jarwin is going to be the starting tight end here. There is a good amount of opportunity for him to contribute and have good fantasy value as a sleeper option, okay? So keep your eye out on Blake Jarwin, especially if you're playing in a dynasty. He's a younger guy. You can go ahead and pick him up. In a regular 12-team league, he can be your backup tight end, right, on your bench for like that bye week. Anyway, other than that, I would say just stay tuned and to see what happens with these offenses, right? You never know. There's always an opportunity for an injury to come out, or hopefully Zeke figures it out and starts playing and getting his feet a little wet before the season starts. But anyway, I'm not worried about those kind of guys. Let's move on. What's the next game? Yes, the Colts versus the Seahawks, okay? What do we call this? I literally didn't write anything, okay? I'm a little disappointed right now. Let me see if I can figure out what I want to write. I think Andrew Luck and Russell Wilson were drafted in the same season. I want to confirm this, shall we? What year was Andrew Luck drafted? I think it was 2012. Yeah, it was 2012. So now, what was Russell Wilson? I think they were drafted in the same year. Russell Wilson was a third-round pick, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go ahead. Yep, 2012. Okay, so we're going to call this. Hey, look at that. We're on the spot. We're going to call this the Battle of the 2012 Draft, okay? The Colts versus the Seahawks. Okay, first thing that popped out, right? Andrew Luck, healthy, made some passes, looked good. Bada boom. That's all we need to know. We need to know he's healthy and he's going to play. That's it. Finished. Perfect. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. I think he's going to be good this season, especially in 2 QB leagues when people are like, I don't know. Draft him. I'm telling you. Other than that, for the Colts, Marlon Mack looked decent. I'm a little worried about Marlon Mack. Not in a bad way, but in a good way. I'm worried that he's going to have a lot of yards this season, right? And there's a potential for Marlon Mack to contribute in the passing game and in the running game. Other than that, Nyheim Hines, who I've been high about the last couple weeks, didn't perform well, didn't really do much. Jordan Wilkins played a little bit better than him. Other than that, I think Marlon Mack, if those 2 other rookie running backs don't start stepping up, is going to have this job locked up. Other than that, Deion Kane, who is a wide receiver for the Colts, tore his ACL. Ryan Grant is going to be the number 2 wide receiver of this offense. It's pretty simple. Jack Doyle, yes, he's going to contribute. I don't think Eric Ebron is going to steal as many attempts as a lot of people think. So it's going to be T.Y. Hilton, Jack Doyle, Ryan Grant, and then a running back out of the backfield who's going to probably be Marlon Mack receiving the ball. That'll be the hierarchy of the weapons around Andrew Luck. Now, on the Seahawks side, we're going to talk about a rookie running back, right? Rashad Penny. Didn't look great, right? Again, offensive line issues. It's the same excuse for Ronald Jones, right? But Chris Carson looked hella good. I mean, he looked like a hell of a running back, okay? Pete Carroll came out and said, Chris Carson is blowing our mind. He might be the starting running back. That's something to worry about for owners of Rashad Penny. But, if you play in a dynasty, I still think Rashad Penny is a good grab. And I think that he was drafted in the first round for a reason. It's going to take, some time to get acclimated with the speed of this, of the NFL, and get acclimated with the playbook. Majority of that is, it's pretty difficult to get acclimated with the playbook that literally never ends. But other than that, another thing that I picked up from the Seahawks-Colts game, Nick Vannett, is going to be the starting tight end for the Seahawks. Ed Dixon's been hurt. There's no more Jimmy Graham. There's no more Luke Wilson. Nick Vannett, He's just like Blake Jarwin. He's a guy that you should be keeping your eye on, and he's going to be a sleeper tight end in your draft. Okay, guys? No joke. He'll be there. Okay? Let's move on. Okay, Sam Darnold, right? The Falcons versus the Jets. I'm going to call this the Rams game. This is the Rams versus Ravens 2.0, okay? The Falcons came out and they didn't start anybody, right? No Matt Ryan. There's no Devontae Freeman, no Julio, no Mohamed Sanu, et cetera, right? So there isn't really much to pick up on when it comes to that kind of situation. I guess in the next coming weeks, they'll be contributing more or having, more, a couple series in which they'll get their feet wet. Other than that, a question. Who knew Matt Schwab was still in the league, right? I remember Matt Schwab, Arian Foster, Andre Johnson, right? That Texans trio, which was a fantasy monster. How is Matt Schwab still on a roster? How is he on a payroll? This is actually insane. Matt Schwab is a quarterback for the Falcons. What? Okay, anyway. The Jets, okay? Quarterback-wise, right? They have the same issue as the Falcons, right? I mean, not Falcons. The Bills, right? They have a quarterback carousel that no one knows who's going to be a starting quarterback. I like to believe that it was going to be Josh McCown. But Teddy Bridgewater and Sam Darnold looked great, right? Plain and simple. Sam Darnold looked really good, actually. And Teddy Bridgewater looked like, he should be a starter in this league, 100%, right? So just off of that, I'm going to go ahead and opt and say that there's a good chance that Josh McCown doesn't end up being a starter this year. For those of you who were like me and hoping that he would be because he contributed last year to your roster, I'm sorry. We're gonna all go cry together. Other than that, Bilal Powell looked decent. Isaiah Crowell the other day, I think he had a concussion. If you're a Bilal Powell owner, without Elijah McGuire stealing carries because he's out for the rest of the season, there's a good chance Powell has a good season. Bilal Powell always ends up having a decent year, but he never contributes early. The first 6 weeks of every season, Bilal Powell is nowhere to be found. From then on, the last 10 weeks, he's a good running back. Okay, so let's move on, right? We have a couple more to go through. Lions and Raiders, okay? This is another running back we got to talk about, right? Kieran Johnson. I've said this name before in my running backs video. His ADP is done. It's over. It's going to skyrocket, right? Matt Patricia came out. He said, we want to run the ball more. And, man, can this young man run, okay? Kieran Johnson, he came out. He produced, plain and simple. Man, there's no way that you're going to be able to snag this guy unless you want to pay the price, right? He's going to be probably the starting running back of this offense. Yes, they have LeGarrette Blount, Amir Abdullah, Theo Riddick, but he is a young and tough running back. I said it in my video a couple weeks back, right? When I recorded that top 10 rookie running backs video. If you haven't watched it, go ahead and check that out. I said it before. I think that Kieran Johnson could potentially be the best running back of this class, right? He looked great in college. He looked good against the Raiders. Yes, the Raiders defense is trash, right? But he looked good, right? We'll see what happens in the next coming weeks. Other than that, I swear, on the first play of offense, or not the first play, it was probably the second play of offense for the Raiders, Marshawn Lynch had an 80-yard touchdown. He looked quick. He looked healthy. He looked fresh. He looked like the Marshawn Lynch of old. Okay? He got out of the backfield and into that end zone so damn fast, right? He was outrunning Glover Quinn like it was nothing, right? He beat him in the end zone. So just a couple things. I mean, like he did that one play. They called it back because of a penalty. He was done for the rest of the night, right? Marshawn Lynch could be a sneaky good pickup this coming season, guys, especially in your standard leagues. There's potential. There's potential for sure. Other than that, just got to be careful. We got to wait and see what happens to that Lions backfield. There's still 5 starting running backs. I think Zach Zinner also contributed a little bit the other day. Okay, so we're almost done, guys. 2 more games, okay? What did I see from this game, right? Who do we have on screen? This is Royce Freeman. It's over, guys. It's the same deal with Kieran Johnson. Royce Freeman has won the backfield. It's over. Just go watch, just literally type in YouTube, you can do that. Kieran Johnson, preseason, boom, go watch his plays and watch Royce Freeman's, okay? He looked great, right? He looks better than Devontae Booker. He's probably going to be the starting running back. I'm happy about that because I own him in one of my leagues. I mean, I'm ready, right? Other than Royce Freeman looking like he's going to win this job and his ADP is about to rise like no other, Kirk Cousins looked good. There was a specific pass to, Stephon Diggs that looked like an extremely difficult pass, but he put the bread in the basket. I like the fact that he threw the ball to Stephon Diggs. And Stephon Diggs scored that touchdown. You want to know why? Because a lot of people, they're thinking, there it is. It's settled. Stephon Diggs is the number 1 wide receiver of this team. Just wait. Don't draft Adam Thielen. Let him drop. Let me go ahead and pick up Adam Thielen. I'll be extremely thankful for you doing that for me, okay? I'd appreciate that also. Anyway, so that's pretty much what I picked up. Royce Freeman looked good. Adam Thielen he'll probably drop an ADP, but man, he's going to be good. And yeah, that's pretty much the main highlights. Case Keenum came out 1 for 5. Didn't look great. We'll see how that ends up. So the last game, okay? We made it this far, 47 minutes. The Chargers versus the Cardinals, which was yesterday. Obviously on the screen, as you can see, it's Austin Eckler. I wanted to talk about Austin Eckler a little bit. Melvin Gordon hasn't been healthy throughout his entire career. There's been a couple weeks, I owned him last season, where he just wasn't healthy, right? I think Austin Eckler contributing yesterday, he looked good. In the running game, in the passing game, there's a potential for Austin Eckler to almost be a flex start in some leagues, right? PPR leagues, he could potentially be a flex start. So just keep your eye out on him. Otherwise, he's an extremely valuable handcuff. Other than that, just like I said prior, right? Go watch Kieran Johnson's preseason. Go watch Royce Freeman's. David Johnson on his first 2 plays, right? He ran the ball twice. Each rush was for 14 yards, right? Now, you might be thinking, Andrew, you just said that Saquon Barkley ran for 33 yards, no big deal. Gosh, guys, the way that David Johnson runs makes me want to take him number 1 overall. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but he looked good. Josh Rosen looked good. Josh Rosen looked really good. Okay, he looked good enough to where I wouldn't be pissed if Sam Bradford got canned and they went with Josh Rosen, right? Even with, I guess it kind of will hurt Larry Fitzgerald a little bit and like Ricky Seals-Jones, who I think is still going to be that tight end over there, despite all that information that was coming out about him allegedly doing whatever. Doesn't matter. That's it. We're done. Thoughts overall, it was a pretty decent week 1. A lot of questions were answered. A lot of questions still remain to be answered. There's a lot of, work to be done prior to the drafts coming up for you guys. I'll be bringing out content on a weekly basis, as I said before. I want to thank everybody for watching. We've been here for about 50 minutes. If you made it this far, I extremely appreciate it. Other than that, again, if you haven't subscribed and you've made it this far, please do so. The next goal, right? I seriously thank you guys for making it 50 subscribers. But the next goal, I guess we have to double it, right? We got to get for the 100, right? We got to go hundo. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. I want to try to end this video in the next 6 seconds, so I appreciate it. And we're going to make it a flat 50, 2, 1. See you.